Hey everyone, Ryan here. We have made it to this point of time, believe it or not. If you guys can remember, 6 years later in 2013, we had the first movie of Frozen. And since that grossed so much money and got a green light to give us a sequel, Disney decided to do, let's go make a sequel, a follow-up to this movie. We'll give some peradventure, more adventure with Elsa and Anna. So here is my take on the movie review of Frozen 2.
You've seen an enchanted forest?
Yes, it was a magical place, but something went wrong. Since then, no one can get in or out.
Wow, Papa, that was epic.
Well, believe it or not, we have finally made it to this point in time, again I say, with Frozen 2. And I'm actually glad in a way they actually did make a sequel. I wasn't too sure what I would have actually filled with the sequel, knowing if you guys are familiar watching my stuff, I'm not one that usually likes to seeing these sequels, especially with these animated movies, because I just feel most of the time they do not work. This take for example for Cars 2, something like that. I thought the Cars movie did not need a sequel at all. I don't think they needed a follow-up sequels at all. And I think the really movie that Disney it's actually Pixar, but I think right. So I was thinking of Toy Story. With Disney, if you can remember, straight-to-video stuff in the past. Believe it or not, this Frozen 2 gave a good feel, and I felt this was a good interaction to bring this movie to the big screen. Now, I really think this was a big follow-up from the movie, and I actually think this was a much better story from the first, believe it or not. So anyways, I'm going to give you some sort of a premise here. I try not to give anything away for you guys, but if you remember the first Frozen back in 2013, we had the sister romance, well, I was going to say use the word romance, but it's more like a sisterhood, is what I should actually be saying. And it was a bond back then. They would try not to break, and of course, Anna and Elsa's true sisterhood gave that true love, not that first kiss sort of thing. So with that story following up after this, this story actually continues on, of course. You have Kristoff and Anna still having, they're still dating, but and Kristoff wants to marry Anna, so he's trying to propose in someone throughout this whole movie. And following up from the story, if you guys remember, go back to the first one, how their parents died within the first 10 minutes of the film, of course. Yes, we do get more in depth in that story with this sequel. And I feel there's a lot more to the story than that meets the eyes, in the words. I had to use a little line from the Transformers line. And I felt it worked well. And the other thing too is that throughout the whole movie, when I saw Frozen for the first time, forever, I was kind of confused how Elsa actually got her power, because I noticed the whole family doesn't have powers except for her. And she's had it since childhood, and through this growing up time, we don't know why she's got these powers, and at least this answer gets revealed for the first time. I'm not going to believe it. Every time I'm going to say it first time, I want to break into that song. And going into the songs, believe it or not, no songs from the first Frozen were not actually, there wasn't sung in this movie, in other words. Everything is fresh in the movie, which I actually thought was really done. It was done well. It fit the story well enough. I'm even from the beginning, I thought, because yes, they brought the parents back, but to make this story work, that's what they had to do, because I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give the story away, but it is a little background on their parents. And the dad tells them a little story about what lives beyond the fog into the forest, stuff like that. And pretty much the story revolves on Elsa trying to break through, to discover there are people within the forest still. And everything this works well. I was really glad to see Olaf back. They can't get rid of Olaf. Olaf is one of, he's a lovable little snowman. You gotta love him. Do you want to build a snowman? I know I'm going to start singing every line I might actually say into a song. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be like Enchanted or something like that. No. But overall, I thought this movie was well done for a sequel. I would recommend this movie even over the first one. But if you want to get familiar with this one, I would recommend, in other words, to see Frozen 2, because otherwise you might get a little lost. Not too much. This is, I really got to say, this is a totally different story. And I got to say, this lived up to its expectation. I'm really happy to see what this movie has become. I was a little afraid in the beginning because with the sequel and everything, because most sequels do not live up to the original. And I felt this one actually lived up to its original. So I know you guys are not going to often hear me say that, because I feel sequels do not always need to be made, because just because a movie makes so much doesn't mean you need to give a green light to say, hey, let's do a sequel. Like I did in the beginning. Do you want to make a sequel? Oh, that's not always the case, though, in the Hollywood industry. Sometimes I just feel some things need to be not go beyond first sometimes. Sometimes I think sequels can be good, but most of the time I think no. I know this is what, if you watch my station a number of times with my videos, with my movie reviews especially, I am pretty critical with the sequels, moreover with remade movies, stuff like that. And I noticed, if you guys can point out this too, because this movie, the first Frozen, was based on the Snow Queen. It actually kind of still is, but they go way beyond the Snow Queen, even in the second the second story. And they actually give a really good classic good story. And I felt the music and everything. I know I've already talked a little bit about the music, but I felt once I may watch it once or twice, I might start getting those music tunes into my mind. And oh yeah, the one other thing I did want to say, because Elsa does hear a little music tune that no one else actually does, and this is the point on why she has to follow these tunes. She has to go north to find it, and everything just winds up really good. I just think, I know, to tell the truth, I'm really excited. I'm actually glad this movie worked out to its full quality, and I gotta say this movie was well done. So I am gonna recommend this movie for people with the families that go see this. This is good for the whole entire family. I'm glad Olaf got another solo song, which was really magical, of course. Not as catchy from the last one, first Frozen, when it's summer. Not as catchy as that, but it's still a really good song for Josh Gad to do for Olaf. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. Before I do, give me some comments to tell me what you actually think about this movie and how you actually feel about it. If you guys haven't seen it, are you wanting to see it? Sometimes when they do make sequels, sometimes I bypass not to bother at all. But I'm glad I went to see this. I had a great time in the movies. I know everybody I went with in the whole theater really enjoyed it. And believe it or not, I got to say not the whole crowd, but a good amount of people gave applause to the movie, which I always think that's always one of the best things I like about going to movies, when a sequel lives up to its original. Officially now, I am wrapping this up. My name is Ryan Quetch. Thank you for watching. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. See you at the movies next time. Thank you for watching.